Thanks for tuning in to another Car Meet Garage. As always, my name is Don. We're here with our buddy Steve.
How you guys doing?
Steve, thanks for having us into your garage, and we're sitting here with your Blazer LS swap. And before we dive into this monster, because we're kind of here for you, how did you kind of get started in this?
Basically, I got started in it back in high school like pretty much everybody else. Just started out with the cars, then I got into trucks, got back into Jeeps, and now I'm back into the cars again.
It's a good spot to be. I can appreciate everything. I kind of appreciate every part of the automotive hobby, and I'm a street guy, and this is drag stuff. This is our home. Greg's home too. Greg does drag stuff too.
Yep. Yeah, this is my first LS swap that I've driven on the street. I had I want to say it was a 92 IJ that I put a 6-liter in. Problem with that was I wanted it to be a trail rig and just couldn't keep it cool.
That's a problem sometimes, and I gotta say, another goddamn garage with an LS in it. Every single time we've done a bunch of these, and Greg's a big block guy, and I'm an LT1, right? I'm an LT1 small block guy.
Yep.
So I just kind of harass it a little bit. And so, what was your first car?
My very first car was a 77 Blazer that I was handed down from my dad to me. And that's pretty much where it all got started. I pulled the motor out, pulled the transmission out, rebuilt everything in it, lifted it up. At that time, it only had 38-inch tires on it, and pretty much went from there.
K5 Blazer with removable. Oh, those are so cool.
Yeah, I wish I had another one.
The Broncos and the K5s, art. Love, those are so sweet.
Yep.
When those kind of trucks for those kind of trucks, and not like not taking away from, I love the S Series Blazer. I'm a huge S Series guy, but what's going on with this guy? What year is it? What's kind of in it?
This is a 2001. I believe it's a 2004 5.3. It has BTR Stage 3 cam in it. LS7 stock internals. I put a line lock on it when I got it. That's the only thing that I've actually put on it besides the tires. And it's got nitrous outlet, 100 to 400 shot plate on it. And it also has a Lingenfelter launch control on it.
Oh, I love the nitrous outlet plate. It hits so hard, so clean, because their design is the perimeter style. I love it.
Yep. I actually haven't had the chance to use it yet, because when I got this, it didn't have a bottle in it. I had to get a bottle. And the site I put on there that I was looking for a nitrous bottle, and the guy that belongs in it lives up in West Branch. He's like, I got one. I said, how much do you want for it? He says, come get it. It's yours. And it's full.
Oh, nice. Actually, I think I've seen that one, because I hit him up and you got it before I could, because I am a collector of all things nitrous. Yeah, that's all right. So your story about even getting this truck is kind of neat.
Yes, I was into Jeeps, and like we were talking, I've got a bad back. I can't hardly work on them anymore. Trail riding was getting to the point where I'd come home and I was just in pain for days afterwards. So I said, putting it up for sale. Put it up for sale, and a guy down in Livonia was looking for a Jeep, and he actually owned this. He's the one that built this, and he wanted to trade. So I went down there and looked at it, and we traded even up for it.
Nice. Did you get this past summer? Or?
Yes, I got it. It was either June or July.
Okay.
So I didn't have a lot of time to play around with it, before we had to put them away, but I got enough in it, and it's got the NV 3500 in it, which I don't like driving a stick, and I mean, it's not bad. I do it.
It's not for everybody.
Right.
People who like stick shift stuff like stick shift stuff. People who like to go fast for automatics in their stuff.
Exactly. And that's, I've actually on the bench, my project for the winter is I got a 400 turbo. It's got a trans brake in it. all that happy horse shit, you know, and then basically that's my winter project, is to put the automatic in it and have it ready for next summer.
Pick out a shifter for it yet?
Yes.
What shifter you putting in it?
I got the Hearst quarter stick.
I love that shifter. It's a really good shifter. Because I've always been told you want to go, you want to go gated and not ratchet.
Yep.
Because the ratchet will sometimes put the detent in the center of the shift and it'll can cause some issues. So a good call on that quarter stick.
Yeah,
and it's just really nice.
Yeah, I actually, well, I work with him and his dad. I want to say his dad's in the group too. It's Craig Norton. He just lives right over here.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And I got the transmission and everything from him, so it's already been done. It's been cut for a Ultra Bell. So
Pick up your converter stuff yet?
Yes, I got a 32 to 3500 stall.
From which company?
It's just the Jags.
Oh, okay.
You know, and actually it's kind of funny because Craig works for Jags now. He's a consultant on the phone, computer type guy, and I just said, hey, hook me up with a converter, you know, and he's like, get this one. He says, that'll be great for your truck in your application.
Right, so seeing how I'm a nitrous guy, and you didn't mention the nitrous outlet stuff, how much are you going to spray through it, or is that kind of like hush hush?
Right now it's only got 100 shot in it, so
it's a good entry point.
Yes,
you want to start small. Just don't go for the gusto, because after 100, you're going to get about a month into it, and you're like, yeah, I need more. Let's spray it more.
Yeah, and the guy gave me everything for it. You know, he gave me all the different jets for it, and you know, so basically, I'm good to go once, like you said, once you start into it and get into it and figure out where I want to be.
Right, and just because you got me on the nitrous stuff, a beautiful site that I use for my jetting, it's called Robbie the Robot Nitrous. Okay. And you can enter like your bottle pressure and your fuel jet, and it'll give you the nitrous, or your nitrous jet, it'll give you the fuel jet, or vice versa. And it's been pretty close on all my stuff as far as like after ratios and stuff. So if you ever start if you think you're running rich or running lean, just go on Robbie the Robot. It'll give you a good idea.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
I know this is about you, but if I can lend some advice to you while we're on camera, I could have done it off camera too. But in the next 5 years, you're going to keep this? You're going to go bigger with it? Bigger, better, badder, faster?
Yeah, I plan on keeping this one because it's different. You don't see a lot of them around here. You know, I mean, in Midland, it's like I take it to the Midland meets on Friday night because it's closer for me. And everybody's like, wow, that's an awesome blazer. I'm like, yeah, it can be better, but thanks, you know. And
seeing a blazer in S series that's not rotted in half in Michigan.
Exactly. Well, this actually came from Florida.
Okay.
So that's the good thing about it. Like you said, it's not rotted. It's clean underneath, and it's only got a 66,000 original miles on the body itself. So, you know, I've been looking it over, and I don't know what had happened to it, but there's dents in it, you know, all over the place. But I plan on fixing all that over the winter time.
Right. And this thing's like a race status, dude. Like, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, well, you guys just did an interview for Cody Gartner. I work with him.
Oh, okay.
And he's like, you did a pretty good score on that when you got that.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm happy with it. You know, it's like there's a little things I want to tweak on it and get rid of and make it my own. Right. You know, and the thing I like about it too is it's not gutted on the inside. I mean, if I want to put 4 people in it, I can put 4 people in it.
Right, it's got all the creature comforts. Am I mistaken that I seen you at one of the last meets of the year?
Yes.
And you had kid in the back seat, right?
Yep, that was
cool. Yep.
that was my granddaughter.
That's super cool.
Yep. Yeah, we came into the trunk or treat, and that was basically the only meet that I got to come to this year. I plan on making a whole bunch more this summer. You know, I'm going to try to get to every one of them. You know, I grew up in Bay City, and it's funny because like a lot of the guys that are in the group, I used to cruise Euclid with their dads back in high school.
Yeah, I don't want to age check you. What year did you graduate?
I graduated in '88.
Okay, so you would have been after my dad. My dad graduated in '77. So
okay,
you're like right in between because I'm pretty old too. So
yeah, well, Dan Danks.
Yep.
I hung out with his dad.
Okay.
You know, so me and his dad Dan were pretty much inseparable when we were back in the day, you know, on cruising Euclid and hanging out in Kmart parking lot. And
yeah, because right then it was switching around from like Kmart to Burger King to the old Burger King on Euclid, and it would like switch around and stuff because like when I got into it, it was like at the tail end of that.
Exactly.
Where, like, moved to Midland Street to Rick Laputri's old shop.
Yep.
So, dude, it was like I said, you're like the intermediate of where it rolled down to me, and then where it rolled down from me down to Greg and those generations. It's like you're like in that pattern. It's pretty cool to that it's like one big rock rolling down the hill.
It is. It's, you know, because Dan's the one that actually told me about the site. You know, because we were talking, and it's kind of funny because his truck, I actually helped his dad paint. It's still the original paint. From
nice.
You know, because that truck actually came from Arizona, and when his grandfather got it, there was no motor, nothing in it, you know, and me and Dan were the ones that actually painted it the first time, and I was surprised to see that it's still the same color.
Well, the paint job's good. Why change it? Right. You know? Good paint job will last for an extremely long time.
Yep. Yeah, it's just it's funny now that, you know, I moved out here. Now I'm getting back into everything in Bay City again.
Right, now it's a hike. I know, we just had to drive it.
Oh yeah. You know, I made a comment on somebody's post one day. I'm like, because somebody put on the site that they wanted to do longer cruises. And I'm like, shit, it takes me a half a tank of gas just to get to Bay City. You know, so my parents still live in Bay City, so I'll trailer it to their house and then drive it.
It's less wear and tear on stuff. Some people will scoff at people, but if you're running a big and a little, that's, you know, I've tackled a little before. It's not fun.
No.
So when I say tackle, it folded. It was not great. So of all the vehicles you've owned, which one's been your favorite?
I would have to say my favorite vehicle that I owned, I had a 76 Chevy short box.
That's a cool truck.
That it had the 402 big block in it, and it was on, I believe it was 42s. It was either 40s or 42s, I can't remember. But I would say that was probably my favorite, you know, and then this is probably a close second. You know, it's fun. Yes, it's fun. Yeah. You know, and now, you know, because back then those trucks were my daily drivers.
Right.
You know, so it was like.
And like now the younger generation, like you look at like an older 70s, even an 80s, like good clean C10, they're like, that's cool.
Exactly. You know, and I liked, if I would have known back when I was a kid to keep everything I had.
Oh, right. You know, I mean, even I'm at the age right now that I'm like, man, if I would have held on to that.
Exactly.
Like, right,
you know, it's rich. Like, you know, it's funny because my oldest son, all the kids that he grew up with, you know, they were into the Jeeps, but they'd buy a rotted out Cherokee and just take it out in the woods and, you know, beat on it, you know. And they're like, what was it like when you were growing up? I'm like, you could get a non-rotted out square body for $2,000.
Right. And now, you know, I used to scoff at that too. Drive by and, $2,000, that's too much money. And like now it's like $2,000 for unrotted square. Stop the car.
Exactly. You know, and that's the same thing. It's like my dream car is a 69 SS Camaro. And I'll never own one.
You know, what is it with us going to these to the interviews, and then it's like the next one or the one before, there's one, like the person's dream car is sitting at that shop or that person's garage. Like yesterday we did one with somebody who their dream car was a GTO. A red GTO. The very next interview we walked into was a 632 cubic inch friggin' red GTO. And I was like, that was their dream car. Yeah. And then, you know, there's been other talk about, like you just said, 69 Camaro SS. And we were just at American Gasser, another plug for them, I guess. Right. And they had a 69 Camaro SS sitting in their shop. Like,
yeah, I had one 69. It was, it was nowhere near what I wanted it to be, you know, and I drove it for a little while, you know, but it was pretty bad, you know, and I had a 68 also, but
nice.
yeah, you know.
You got any other bucket list cars?
What's that?
Any other bucket list cars?
Not really. I mean, when I was growing up, it was always the Camaros. But now I'm to the point where if I see something that I like, why not?
Non-discerning. You don't give a crap.
Yeah, you know, if my bucket list car was the one, it would have to be the 69 Camaro. It's just, it's
a good choice though.
You know, I mean, I don't know if the Camaros are in my blood because my dad had a 69 SS. My grandmother actually had the very first 67 Camaro in Bay City.
Nice, very cool.
You know, because my dad worked for GM for her, and he actually ordered it, and the car's still in Bay City. The guy that bought it, he bought it from her in '85, and he still has it. And it's, I don't see the car around a lot, but I just seen on his Facebook page, he's got a new picture of it, and it's still, I mean, it's still an original numbers matching car. It was the 327 two barrel, you know, so everything on it, it's a hubcap car. He's still got the original hubcaps on it.
That's pretty cool.
You know,
it's getting harder and harder to find cars like that because normally a lot of times those cars got cut up
exactly
to do
whatever
street car stuff. We'll use a Larry Dirt term there, street car.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's, you know, the memories and stuff you make, and you even said that your kids are doing the Jeep things, and you even mentioned you did Jeeps, so you've been passing that pill right down the line.
Right. Yeah, you know, and it's funny because, you know, my oldest is 25-ish, but he was, with the generation that there is now, both my boys never got into the video games. You know, I got pictures of my youngest with one of my mud trucks where you are out in the garage working on it, and he could have been 5. But that's the way, you know, I was like, I'm not getting them on the video games. They're going to get into cars just like I did, you know. And it was funny. Me and my buddy, he owns, I don't know how many acres, but we used to let the kids run around out in the Jeeps, you know, and when Cody was like 10, I think. We were at a huge mud bog, and my buddy's daughter was like, "Dad, can we take the Jeep?" And he's like, "Yeah, let Cody drive it for a while." You know, so everybody's like, "Look at them little kids." I mean, Cody can barely see over the steering wheel.
He's in a safe environment, though.
Exactly.
If something happens, you guys are right there, and it gives him that experience. He's always going to have that memory.
Yep.
Oh, my dad waited till I was like 17 to let me drive. Nah, let him drive it young. My grandparents did that when I was younger. You know, we're out in the woods. Your time to drive.
Yep. And it's cars and trucks have just been a thing that I've been into ever since I can remember.
Nice. So, you know, beyond the cars, I did see a fishing boat over there.
Yep.
So I know you got other hobbies. Is that pretty much it? Or you do anything else cool?
Hunting, fishing. We go camping. We've got a camper up in West Branch it's a seasonal lot. I think this will be the 5th year, I think. But we got to the point where, okay, taking a camper and setting it up all the time is actually more work than what people think. So I had some friends that they had a seasonal, and I kept saying, I'll never do that. Yeah, we started watching them and hanging out with them, and I'm like, you know what, this is pretty cool. You just come here, open it up just like you're at home.
We just did the opposite because we have a bear camper, and we had a seasonal up in Omer.
Okay.
And with COVID, all the prices and stuff jacked right up, and like 2 years ago, we're like, no, it's just too expensive. And last year, like, it was good I think for a year or two, it's going to be okay. That me going and, us setting it up. But I think after like 2 years, it's going to be like, I want another seasonal.
Yep. Yeah, it's just
It's like a cabin. You go there, you plant your butt, and you get out. And then the cool part about us being at Omer too is they have a car show right in Grayling, or not Grayling, oh crap, I forget the name of the car show, the town, but right outside of Omer, they have a car show every year.
Is it north of Omer?
North, yeah.
All Gray?
All Gray, there you go. They have the All Gray car show, so we'd bring our cars to the camper, and people in the campground are like...
Well, that's like, I never really noticed it until this past summer once I got this. Up in West Branch, there are all kinds of cars up there.
Yeah.
And I never noticed it before, so that's something that I'll be doing too. I'll be hauling this up on the trailer and taking it into West Branch.
Yeah, and the cool part about this truck too is I know we're kind of all over the place is I'm anxious to see this thing on the drag strip.
I am too. I asked the kid, he never ran it down the strip because he just said I never had time to do it with all his other cars and that. But it's been dynoed at the way it sits right now. I know it's not a lot, but it was 464 to the tires.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible.
No, it's, in the perspective, what, 15 years ago, 460 horsepower was that was something, like a lot. And then now you're like, oh, 460 horsepower. It's like, look, I'm so old enough that you can appreciate 460. Most people who don't scoff at 460 horsepower don't know what real 460 horsepower is. Yeah. They don't know.
Yeah, when I first got this, I took my dad for a ride in it, and he grew up in the '60s, so he had all the cars. He had probably his best car that he had was a '62 409. Yeah, and I took him for a ride in it, and he says, "You know what?" He says, "I've owned a lot of fast cars." He says, "But nothing like that." He says, "The cars back in my day," he says, "yeah, they were fast." He says, that thing, I'm granted my dad's 78 now, but he's like, that thing's scary fast.
Right. And it's just the older cars, and they say I don't build them like they used to. It's like, well, they don't, but I like the design, but like the modern technology, they just perform so much better, and the torque curves are different. Yep. It's a different feeling.
And see, and that's probably my biggest downfall with an LS swap is because I'm the old school. I got to learn how to tune these. I know absolutely nothing about tuning them. I can work on them and everything, but when it comes to the tuning part and,
like people who don't know, it's like open the laptop.
Exactly.
It's not that easy.
No, it's not that easy. You can screw shit up, really.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've done it. I got a motor sitting in my garage in the stand right now that's missing part of a ring lamp because I was like, it's 2 more degrees of timing. Let's do it. And did not work out that way. So, but it's a learning curve, and HV tuners it's pretty intuitive. You'll be okay as long as you've got head on your shoulders, which you obviously do. It's just air and fuel and spark. Right. As long as you don't go crazy, you kind of have some kind of concept of how it all works. And it's 2024, right? Like you can go online and be like, okay, where do I need? Or you can probably even look up a bass tune for this thing, or there's 100 ways to skin that cat. Mm-hmm. So I do got to ask, because you do have this, and you have any social medias that...
The only thing I've got Instagram, but I don't go on it a whole lot. Basically, I'll post stuff on my page on Facebook.
This thing's cool. You could do some Instagram stuff on just a random picture, man.
Yeah, that's what I do. Half the time I forget I got Instagram.
Yeah, I'm guilty of it too. It's like, oh man, I'm Snapchat and Facebook, and I'm like, outside of that, I'm like, I do have an Instagram.
It's like I did that with my last Cherokee. It was like I'd put pictures on Facebook, and then I'm like, what? I want to put some of them on, and then it's like, okay, do you want to post them to your Facebook? I already did that.
Right, that's why I always forget you can do it Instagram, and it automatically posts to Facebook.
But yeah, that's my Facebook page is pretty much the only thing that I've
Yeah, something, and that's and you are a car guy, so I guarantee you're going to post stuff about this on.
Oh yeah,
okay,
yep.
But dude, this is super sweet, and I really, really want to thank you for having us over here today. Yep. and squeeze us into your busy schedule. I can't wait to see this thing make some passes.
I know. I'm waiting for summer.
All right, sir. Thank you for having us.
Yep, not a problem.
Make sure you hit that follow and like button, and catch you guys in the next one.